Hello everyone, we're back with another video. This is on section 7.1%. And we're gonna start with question number 1. It has 3 parts. So we're going to express the decimal as a percent. So when we are expressing the decimal as a percent, as in the case of 1a, we have 0.0318. Let me just write 1a, and then we have 1b, 0.634, and 1c, 3.975. So we want to express the decimal as a percent. What we're trying to do is we are trying to remove the decimal point, and we're going to replace that with the percent symbol. And to do that, we just multiply by 100. So we're going to multiply by 100, each one, and it's going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So it does, let me get a red pen, it moves the decimal point 2 places to the right. And so we don't get rid of the decimal point necessarily. We may, if we end up with a whole number as a percent, but in this case, we are not going to get rid of it. It just simply is going to move after the 3, right? So this becomes 3.18, and then we need to add the percent sign, right? And we're going to do the same thing to the next problem, the next number. So we just move the decimal point 2 places to the right. It becomes 63.4%. Add the percent sign, and then same thing here. So it's going to be 397.5%. Now to do, if we wanted to move, so this is from decimal to percent. To do if you wanted to go the other way, in the opposite direction, from percent to decimal, then what I can do is, say I have 3.18% and I want to write it as a decimal, you need to divide by 100. So from decimal to percent, we multiply, and from percent to decimal, we divide by 100. And when we divide by 100, we move the decimal place 2 places as well, but to the left. Okay? So that is example number 1. It has parts A, B, and C. All right, let's see. So let's try number 3. And this time we're going to express the percent as a decimal. So let me write down the questions: 3A, 3B, 3C, and we have 27%, 568.4%, and then 38 and 2 over 3%. All right. Now, so that one is this one. We have, let's see. Let me go ahead and stop sharing. Okay, so now we're going to divide 27 by 100. And so that's going to move the decimal place. So it is originally here, even though you don't see it, that's where it is. So if it's going to move 2 places to the left, right? So it's going to be 0.27, or you can write 0.27, right? And then 568.4% divided by 100. This is going to move 2 places to the left. It becomes 5.684, right? It moves 2 places to the left, so 5.684, okay? And then the last one, well, 2 over 3, notice that if you use your calculator, I recommend this calculator, by the way. Let me put it here so you can see it. That's the calculator I recommend for this course. And you can borrow one from the Department of Engineering and Mathematics at St. Philip's College. And the information on how to borrow one from the college is in your Canvas page. Okay, so 2 over 3, notice I can just press the fraction key here. 2 over 3 And then if I press the enter key here, it's just gonna be 2/3. But if I press the this key here, it has the opposing arrows here, kind of like the directions in opposite directions. So I press that, and it's gonna convert it to a decimal. And so that's 0.6666. So you can just write, you know, you can write this one. I'm gonna write it right here so you can see. So 38 2/3%, you can write it as, you know, well, 38, you can write this as 38.6666%, right? And, you know, keeps, if I put this line on top of the 6, it just means it repeats. So you can see how, you know, you can, and if you round, let's say you rounded this can become, like, if you divide by 100, right? So you divide by 100, this is going to be 0. This moves 2 places to the left, 3866666, like that, right? So then this is going to become 0.386, and then you can just write the line on top for repeats. This means it repeats. Okay. So that's one way you can do this. Now you don't have to expand the 6 4 times here, and in fact you can just do another way you can do this is just simply write, you can simply write 38.6 and then the line on top of the 6, to let the reader know that this is going to continue. So this, whenever you see this sign like this, a line on top of a number, a line segment, it's not really a line, it's a segment, that means that this is going to repeat. So if you divide that by 100, you move the decimal 2 places to the left, it's 0.38, and then the 6 repeats, right? All right, so that is example 3 with parts A, B, and C. Let's see what follows. Let's do number 5. So 5 reads, an iPad Air was reduced from $619 to $559. Find the percent reduction in price and round the answer to the nearest 1/10% if necessary. Okay, so let me first write down the information I'm gonna need. So I have old price. Okay, the old price is 619. The new price is 559. We want to find the percent reduction and then round to the nearest 1/10%. Okay, so I'm gonna lower this so you can see. You need to know the formula for percent change. So whenever you're calculating percent change, that's equal to the new price minus the old price divided by the old price. Okay, so the new price minus the old price divided by the old price. Then you multiply the result by 100. Okay, so we have the new price here is 559. And the old price is 619. We're going to divide that by the old price, and then we're going to multiply that by 100. And so let's see what we get. 559 minus 619 gives us a -60. And we expect that because the price dropped. And then we're going to divide that by 619. And that's going to give us a decimal. So go ahead and write the whole thing. And then we're going to convert to percent. And then go ahead and convert to percent by multiplying by 100. So if you take negative 0.096930533, and I multiply by 100, I get, remember, it moves, the decimal point moves to the right 2 places, so it's going to be 1 and 2. It's going to be negative 9.6930533, right? And we add the percent sign, and then you're going to round to the nearest tenth of a percent, right? Which is the 10th place. Now, notice that I did not round. I don't round intermediate answers. I don't round intermediate answers. I only round the final answer, which is this one. So then when I round to the nearest tenth of a percent, I look for the 10th place. And because the number next to it is a 9, that means that I'm gonna round up to 7 here. So it's gonna be a negative 9.7%. Okay, the negative simply means that it dropped. So when you are determining the percent reduction, you're not gonna write it with a negative. This means that there was a price drop, right? So then what you're gonna write is the decrease was 9.7%. That's the right answer. There's a 9.7% decrease in price. Decrease, why? Because we ended up with a negative sign. But a common mistake that the students make is to say it was a decrease of negative 9.7%. Then that's redundant. You're already saying that it was a decrease because there's a negative sign there. So what you're gonna say, the right way to say it is it's a 9.7% decrease in price. Okay. That's question number 5. Question number 5. Make sure you write down this formula for percent change. This is important. And I'm gonna move the paper up so you can see the top. There's the top, and then move it down so you can see the bottom. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next problem. So that's number 5. We're gonna look at number 7. And it says, Milo receives a commission of 4% on all sales. So 4% commission. 4% commission on all sales. If his commission on a sale was 42.24, find the cost of the item sold. Okay, so we know that he makes 4% commission on all sales, and this time he earned $42.24. So we know that this $42.24 represents 4%. I'm gonna write it as a decimal. 4% of some total number X that I do not know what it is. I'm gonna look for it. So this X represents the total, right, of the price of the item sold. So X is the price of the item sold by this person. So we know that the $42.24 is equal to 4% of some total. I'm gonna call that X. And so I'm gonna solve for X. And remember how you solve linear equations, you divide both sides. You want to isolate your X, so here you're going to divide both sides by 0.04. And so that's going to give me X. That cancels 0.04 here, and 42.24 divided by 4% gives us a total of $1,056. So that's the price of the item that this person sold. Okay, so you needed to set up an equation here, right? we know that he earns 4% on all sales, 4% commission, and he earned $42.24, which is 4% of sum total. So we just have to solve for the total. Okay, so that's question number 7. And 9 has 3 parts. So I'm going to get to 9, and then I will also do 11, last problem. Okay, so let's get to 9. And 9, it reads, based on statistics from a worldwide organization, in 2013, there were 27.1 million people worldwide living with a certain disease. Okay, so in the year 2013, 27.1 million people had the disease. And 1.4 million people died from the disease. So that year in 2013, 1.4 million people died from the disease. Okay, so by 2023, so we're talking in the future, the number of people living with the disease had grown to 31.5 million. So you had 31.5 million people living with the disease, and 1.1 million deaths were reported. Okay, it says, find the percent change for each statistic and write any conclusions you can draw. So a statistic, we're looking at these numbers, and statistics are just, we're looking at data that were reported. And so we're gonna look at the number of people. So A, we want the percent change in people living with the disease. So that's A, the percent change of people living with the disease. And then B is the percent change in the deaths that are from the disease, rounded to the nearest 1/10%. So both answers, we want to round to the nearest 1/10%, and then we can draw a conclusion. Okay, so we're going to use the same formula we use for the percent change, right? And so we are going to look at people living with the disease is the first part, right? People living with the disease. So we're only going to be looking at this column here. So we're going to do this in parts. For the 2 years, we have people living with the disease. So remember, remember the formula for percent change is new minus old over old. So the new here for the people living with the disease is 31.5 minus the old is 27.1 divided by the old, 27.1, right? That's for the deaths. And then for people living with the disease. Now for deaths, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna do the new statistic, which is 1.1 minus the old minus 1.4 divided by the old. And you're going to compute both statistics. We call these statistics, these are results of data that was gathered. And so we're trying to investigate a phenomena here of what happened really. So 31.5 minus 27.1, we get 4.4 divided by 27.1. And that's going to give me a number written as a decimal. So don't round intermediate answers. So go ahead and see if you make sure you always check at least twice when you do a problem. The calculation, always check it at least twice if you have the time. So I'm getting 0.162361624, and then you're gonna remember multiply by 100. So if you multiply by 100, you're gonna get 16.2361624. Remember that it moves 2 places to the right, and then you're gonna add the percent sign next to it, And then the very last answer, you want to round to the nearest 0.1%, which is 62.2%. So 62.2% is, so there was an increase in the disease, right, of 62.2%. So people living with the disease increased by 62.2%. We can see that. So that's one conclusion we're going to draw, that that it did, the people living the disease, you know, the people living with the disease increased 16.2%. Now let's see what happened to the number of deaths. So 1.4, 1.1 minus 1.4 is a negative 0.3 divided by 1.4. So it went down. Let me write what I get here. So this is in decimal form. Now multiply by 100. This is going to become 21.4285714%. So minus, and then we round to the nearest tenth, minus 21.4%, right? So the number of deaths dropped 21.4%, which means that the disease became less deadly, right? Less deadly. But even though the number of people living with the disease increased by 16.2%, people dying from it decreased by 21.4%, maybe because of vaccines, or so it became less deadly. Okay? So the two conclusions you can draw from is you know, that the number of people living with the disease increased by 16.2%, but the number of deaths decreased by 21.4%, which means that the disease became less deadly, right? So that's question number 9. And then let's go ahead and close with 11. So it reads, you purchase a cryptocurrency at 1,280 per coin. It drops 50% the next day. However, a week later, it increases in value by 50%. If you sell it, will you break even? Explain your answer. So this is definitely a good problem to consider. So let's see. So what's really going on here? We purchased it. Okay, so you purchase a cryptocurrency. So the price today, we're going to say price today is 1,280. Now, price dropped, let's say tomorrow, it dropped by 50%. So let's see, 1,280 times 50% is 640, right? So it dropped by 50%. So you want to calculate 1,280 times 50%. That's 640. So it lost. So it dropped from 1,280 to, so that was the old price, to 640. Okay. So old price and new price. And then it says that a week later, so I'm writing all this down, and I'm going to show you right now. A week later. So remember, the new price is 640. It increases by 50%. So it increases, so I'm going to write that down, by 50%. So now you have to calculate 50% of 640. And so that's 640 times 50%. That's 320. So we know it increased by 320. So it went from 640 plus 320. The new price was now 960. This is the new price. And then will you break even? Well, let me go ahead and stop sharing so I can show you what I have here. Let's go through the problem. So let's say that today you purchase cryptocurrency for 1280. Let's say tomorrow drop by 50%. So 1280 times 50% is 640. That means that you take away from 1240 minus 640, right? When you subtract that, you get the new price of 640 because it's exactly 50%, right? And then this a week later, it increases from 640, it increases 50%. Well, 50% of 640 is 320. So you have 640 plus 320, which gives you 960. Now the question is, are you going to break even, right? And so remember that you bought it for 1280. And then the very last price, so we started with 1280, and the very last price is 960. So we are not going to break even, because breaking even means that you are at a zero profit and a zero loss. In other words, whatever you paid for is what you earned, or whatever, it's exactly the same. What you pay for and what you sell for is exactly the same. So you break even. But notice that we did not break even here, right? Okay, so let me erase this a little bit here so you can see here what I have written. That's the top. So we start with 1280. It dropped 50%. Now 50% is 640. 50% of 1280 is 640. So if you take 1280 minus 640, it gives you 640, the new price. So old price 1280, new price 640. From this 640, it increased 50%, but 50% of the new price of the 640, which is 320. So if you take 640 by plus 320, you get a new price of 960. So then you compare. The very first price you paid for the cryptocurrency was 1,280, and the new price now is 960. So we do not break even. We actually lost. Now, if you want to figure out what you lost, we can do that. That's not part of the problem, but wouldn't it be fun to? Okay, so the answer here is we do not break even. We do not break even. So as an exercise, you try to figure out what was the loss here. So remember how you would calculate loss. We are at a loss here, right? In this situation, or whoever is going through this is at a loss, because in order to figure out the loss, you will do 960, which is the new price, minus the old price, 1280, divided by the old price. And you can calculate the loss, okay? All right, so let's see, what else do we have? Chapter 7 is probably the most useful chapter of this course. Oh, this was 11. Okay, great. So that's pretty much it for 7.1. What I was saying is, this is a very important chapter because it's the chapter that you can apply the most to our real lives. All of us need to have some good understanding of basic finance. And I think this chapter is a very good chapter. So make sure you study it and learn the material so you can apply it in your own finances. Okay, so I think that's it for 7.1. The next video will be on personal budgeting. So that one's coming. All right, well, I guess that's it. So thank you for watching, and make sure you are sending your feedback. Let me know how you are doing, if these videos are making sense, and I will stop here. Let me see. So if I go like, that's it for today, my friends. I will see you on the next video. Take care.